Hey guys, Ed here, bringing the long-awaited part 12 of the Archer series. I hope you guys enjoy, and don't mind the lack of voice. I haven't been feeling well this past week, but with that said, let's get into it.
Fearless.
Where last left off, Izuku, after using everything he had at the USJ, he succeeded in saving Class 1A. Although some complications rose with the UA staff now knowing that Izuku and Archer are the same. A lot of things started to click with the heroes. We cut where the heroes are still in Covergirl's office discussing. Nezu would say, "Since most of you don't know about the magecraft, let me tell you the basis." Aizawa would say, "If I may, Principal, if not telling outsiders about this magecraft a rule, what would be the consequences?" Nezu sighing, he would say, "Believe it or not, magus in nature are very secretive. If someone were to find out, that someone will be targeted by Clock Tower, and they would disappear without a trace." Aizawa would say, "Then humor me for a bit. Mato's case that was mentioned during our last meeting. Now knowing that Mato is a magus, is it possible that even if he wanted to say what happened back then, do you think it possible that he actually couldn't without putting people in risk?" Nezu would say, Yes, I remember that you were annoyed because you couldn't get a report from a 13-year-old. That said, now knowing a bit more about the circumstances, I'd have to say yes. And if he would have told you, you wouldn't be here right now." Recovery Girl would say, "Well, at least now we know how he found out about Miss Midoriya's case, and on how we received that letter from him to begin with. I must say, pretty clever of him." Nezu would say, "Now that we put the pieces together, it makes a lot of sense. But I'm ashamed that I couldn't find out before he was revealed." Aizawa would say, "Back at the USJ, Mr. Uraka spoke about Mr. Mato, and I believe that he is someone that is just tired of losing everything. And before you call me insane, I have proof that supports my claim." Vlad and All Might were about to say something, but at that comment, they had no choice but to stay silent. Nezu would say, "Go ahead, Aizawa, you have the floor." Aizawa would say, "Thanks. The proof of my supports, my claim, is Miss Uraka herself. And even this clock tower knows it." All Might would say, "That is ludicrous. It makes no sense." Aizawa continuing, he would say, "At the USJ, Archer was called out, but he didn't make a move. Until he had to. 13, even you must have noticed it." 13 would say, "Yes, it was when he saved the student." Aizawa continuing, he would say, "And that student was Miss Uraka. I'm sure if we look at the security cameras, we could see Mr. Mato and Miss Uraka always together. And there are statements, but one in particular caught my attention. Miss Uraka told me herself that he always keeps her at arm's length, and Miss Jiro was present." All Might would say, "I don't get it." Aizawa rolling his eyes, he'll continue, he would say, "To put it simply, All Might, by keeping Miss Uraka at arm's length, he is shielding the last embers of his humanity. Once those embers goes out, or rather when he truly doesn't have anything else to lose, we're screwed. And this clock tower knows it as well. Which is why they took Miss Uraka with them a few moments ago. All Might would say, I see. So the better question is, what to do with the students? As I would say, I definitely want to keep Archer's identity between us and not go public with it. Because, in a way, he single-handedly took down every single villain there, saving Class 1A, 13, and myself. Vlad would say, this shouldn't excuse him. He killed a pro-hero, broken many laws, and did as he pleased, not caring for the consequences. He should be prosecuted, and the public should know. Nezu, sighing heavily, he would say, I hate to say this, but Vlad, what you are asking, although true, if word went out that Archer is a student at UA, it could ruin our reputation. But we could use this opportunity to turn things around, don't you think? Alma would say, even so, we can't let Night Eye's death go unpunished. Ned would say, I agree, which is why I'll go make a phone call to Clock Tower and discuss matters further. Aizawa, I'll leave Class 1A's silence on the matter to you. Aizawa would say, Sir, one more thing. I believe that since they're sending someone here to keep an eye on us, do you think we should send one of ours to keep an eye on them? Nezu looked perplexed, and he spoke up, as he would say, I'll think about it. Now then, I have a phone call to make, and you, Aizawa, have students to speak to. The rest of you go back to whatever you were doing and keep this between us. And when Mato comes back, we will treat him like we have before this revelation. The teachers agreed, even All Might had to for a greater good. We skip over to the students in class arguing, and Momo started to fight with Miyuki. Momo tackling Miyuki, she would say, Midoriya, hand that over. Miyuki, struggling, she would say, Get off me, you spoiled big-breasted bitch. Mineta, enjoying every minute of it, he would say, My eyes have finally seen some girl-on-girl action. Kaminari, smirking, he would say, Dude, I agree, but should we stop them? Kirishima, pulling Momo away from Miyuki, she would say, Momo, calm down. Momo, struggling to break free, she would say, No, not until that letter is in the right hands. She made a fool out of me in front of Sensei. Miyuki would say, First off, it doesn't take much. And for the record, this letter is addressed to me. And with it, I'm one step closer on finding my brother. It's not like you can understand. Momo angrily would say, You've done it this time. If I didn't know any better, by the looks of it, you're madly in love with your brother. Before Miyuki could pounce on Momo for round 2, Ida caught her and restrained her. Miyuki, struggling to get free, she would say, Ida, let me go. I must put this boobs for brain in her place. As that was going on, the letter that was in her cleavage fell onto the ground, and Bakugo picked it up. But before he could open it, Miyuki used her quirk to burn it, as Bakugo dropped it. Miyuki broke free and grabbed whatever was left, only to see that there was a picture of which she can make out 3 figures. She recognized 2 of them. One was her brother, Izuku, and the other was Ochako, but he did not know about the other girl. But as Miyuki promised to Saber, she burned the picture so nobody would know what was on it, as a single tear fell down her cheek. Miyuki, annoyed, she would say, If I couldn't have that letter, nobody will. I hope you're happy, Boobzilla. And Kachan, next time, mind your business. Aizawa entered only to see the aftermath, and he had pinched the bridge of his nose in annoyance. Aizawa, annoyed, he would say, Everyone, shut up. I can't go in a meeting without coming into a mess. What happened while I was gone? Mama would say, Miyuki was given a letter from the blonde girl from the USJ, and I tried to take it, but she burned it. Miyuki would say, it's none of your business what I do. Aizawa would say, that will be enough. Now let's go to the important matters. Regarding Archer's identity, it should be between us, which means no gossiping and no prying into affairs bigger than yourselves. That said, maybe one of you are going to find themselves switching classes after the sports festival, so you should train hard in order to keep your spot. That said, you would get some time off in order to prepare. Not just that, also to get over the events transpired at the USJ. As the students were relieved to have time off, Miyuki was thinking until the others spoke up. Momo would say, so wait, does that mean he gets to roam free? Aizawa would say, yes, and considering he saved all of us, we should be grateful, which is why he gets our silence. But then again, it's Yue's problem, not yours. Mo would say, so we should just accept and move on. Aizawa would say, essentially, yes. Do you think that the staff members are on board with this? This situation has gotten Principal Nezu all riled up and with no way out. Kaminari would say, damn, not even Principal Nezu can get out of this one? And he's the smartest person we know. Aizawa would say, if the principal is the smartest, Mato's just surpassed him. Ito would say, what's that supposed to mean? Aizawa would say, Mato is cunning. And in an argument, he cornered Principal Nezu into agreeing to his terms. Miyuki would say, so does that mean Mato is awake? Aizawa would say, no. This was before we found out about his identity as Archer. And a messenger told us as soon as he is up and about, he'll be back. But by then, I want all of you to treat him like you have before all this. Have I made myself clear? Miyuki would say, and what about Ochako? Is she awake? Aizawa was sighing. He would say, yes, she is. But before he could continue, Miyuki cut him off as she would say, can I go and see her? Aizawa, annoyed, she would say, you interrupted me, Miss Midoriya. I was about to say that, yes, she is awake. But she isn't here. Mato's associate took her in order to avoid her spilling any secrets. But mainly because Recovery Girl couldn't do anything for her arm. As that was going on, we skip 1 week ahead with Izuku waking up only to find himself in a room he doesn't recognize, until a familiar voice called for him, as the voice would say, good morning, Sleeping Beauty, or should I say evening? Izuku, disoriented, he would say, what happened? Kaori would say, you were out cold for the past week. I guess you put yourself in a sleep debt. But I'm amazed on how quickly you recovered. Not everyone can fully recover like you do in a week. At most, it'll take them 3 to 4 weeks. Izuku would say, well, it just proves that I'm built different, now does it? Kaori would say, if you mean by calling for my sister in your sleep, I guess it does. Izuku in shock would say, you heard that? Kaori would say, you were just calling my sister's name. And that you tried to say afterwards was more like a mutter-esque thing that nobody could understand? Not even death can do you part. Sheesh. Izuku, annoyed, she'll say, stop that. Now, what are you even doing here? Kaori will say, ever since your last job, I assigned my student to tell you and keep you safe. She brought you here after you collapsed at the USJ. Izuku would say, "Where's the Berserker card?" Kaori pointed in the direction and she would say, "You know, that bringing my sister back to life, it's not guaranteed to work. If it was the Grail itself, maybe, but nobody's ever succeeded." Izuku would say, "If there's a chance, I'll take it. Besides, found out who was behind the attack after 3 long years. Finally found the bastard." Kaori would say, "Wait, so this was planned? Who did it?" Izuku would say, "A guy calling himself Gilgamesh, saying that he has a true archer card." Kaori would say, "Wait, there are 2 archer cards? If the one you have is a fake, why does it still work?" Izuku would say, "I don't know." Even he found it odd. Kaori would say, "I'll look into the matter. Why don't you take it easy for the time being?" Izuku getting up, he would say, "No can do. I still must investigate stuff and taking care of some business. Not just that, I'm a week behind schedule." Kaori would say, "Well, there's no stopping you." Izuku would say, "I appreciate it. And keep a check on the dark on my whereabouts." Kaori would say, "Out of curiosity, where are you going?" Izuku gearing up, he would say, "To burn a terrible parent until there's nothing but ash. Before I can do that, I need to take down the metaphorical shark before I can get to the small fry." Kaori would say, "But doesn't that work the other way around?" Izuku would say, "Yes, but let's just say the small fry is personal, so I'd like to take my time." Kaori had no time to retort because Izuku left in a hurry, heading towards Fat Gum's agency, only to find the window open and an aroma of squid balls grilling. Izuku snuck his way in through the window, only to find Fat Gum waiting for him. Fat Gum would say, "Hey, if it isn't the infamous Archer. Ingenium told me that you were going to stop by, but even he was at a loss for the past week, being a no-show." Archer would say, "It couldn't be helped." Fat Gum would say, "Well, let's head into business. I've been trying to find the source of the trigger, but no matter how hard I look, it always brought me to a dead end. I know for a fact the Yakuza's involved, but I don't have proof." Archer would say, "No need to worry. I don't need proof to throw out the trash." Fat Gum having a sweat drop, he would say, "What do you mean by that?" Archer would say, "I'll throw out the trash and make the city cleaner. This will be off the records, for obvious reasons. In return, it will cost about 4K, but since you are a chill person, I'll do it for 1.5K. Fat Gum would say, "Why would you do a discount? What's in it for you?" Archer would say, "I don't need to explain, but let's just say I get more out of this than you think." Fat Gum would say, "All right, may I ask a personal question?" Archer would say, "Shoot, you only got 30 seconds. Fat Gum would say, "Why put yourself through this?" Archer would say, "Straight as an arrow, I see. The very same reason on why you're hiring me, because you aren't able to do it yourself." Fat Gum would say, "Then tell me, Archer, can you live with all you've done so far?" Archer would say, "If you would have asked the old me, probably not. And if you're wondering of which I'm most certain of, I'm already dead inside, which is why I'm okay doing what I do. And nothing can change that." Fat Gum would say, "I don't know why you're claiming to be dead inside. You should know that even a single smile can make a bad day good." Archer would say, "As if. You think that a single smile can turn a bad day good?" Fat Gum would say, "Yep, I've witnessed it happening before. Don't you believe me?" Archer playing along, he would say, "Tell you what, Fats, let's make a little wager. If you turn out to be right, I'll show you who I am under my disguise." Fat Gum would say, "What if I lose?" Archer would say, "You retire as a hero and hand your entire agency to me. How's that?" Fat Gum having a sweat drop, he would say, "I think it's too much. How about if I lose, I give you inside information of the top heroes?" Archer grinning, he would say, "All right. You better have them all filed in alphabetical order." Fat Gum would say, "But what about the duration of this bet? How long should we keep it going?" Archer, heading towards the window, he would say, "How does a single week sound? I don't know if it'll give you enough time to organize the files alphabetically, but it's enough time for a scary person such as myself to earn a smile or two." Fat Gum would say, "What about payments?" Archer would say, 1.5K in cash. No funny business. And I'll be here to collect next week. Payment and wager. Better have them ready, Fats." Archer jumped out before Fat Gum could retort. Izuku made his way to the Yakuza, only to see nobody, acting as a guard. He went to inspect, only to see some people getting drunk, as a man entered the room. Intriguing, he overheard their conversation. A grunt would say, "Hey look guys, it's Rappa. So, how was babysitting the brat? Did she give you any problems?" A second grunt would say, "Here, have a glass, Rappa." Rappa would say, "Nah, she should be out cold right now, especially after she tried to bite me." The grunt would say, "The boss won't be happy about that when she gets to here." The other grunt would say, "Who cares? The boss ain't here. He'll be here around midnight or so." Rappa would say, "The boss himself told me to discipline her if she doesn't listen. Besides, as long as she's alive, the boss can make those quick erasing bullets." The grunt would say, "Just imagine, the Yakuza will be selling the racing bullets to the villains and sell the antidote to the heroes. They'll be killing each other and we'll get the spoils." The other grunt would say, "Don't forget it's all thanks to a little girl, and we'll be rich in no time." Izuku got very irritated on what he heard, and with the three guys, he shot an arrow right through their heads. And he didn't notice that most of the Yakuza hideout was vacant. He went to every room, and in one of them, he saw an old man hooked up to the machines on his deathbed. Izuku simply pulled the plug. As he was looking around, he used his tracing to find a hidden button, of which revealed a secret passage, and Izuku smiled as he summoned his trusty blades, and killing everyone there. And then he made his way to a locked-up door. He kicked it down, and he entered, only to see some toys, a bed, and something, or rather someone, trembling under the blankets. Izuku placed a hand over the blanket, noticing that whoever was underneath the blanket, they were using the blanket to protect themselves. Izuku would say, "You must be the girl they used for those bullets, right?" But there was no answer. Izuku continued, sighing deeply. He would say, "You're safe. How about I take you away from this place?" Dirty silver hair and a ruby eye peeked from behind the blanket. Izuku extending a hand, he would say, "See? Nobody is here. Now, let's take you out from here. What do you say, kid?" The girl looked at him in confusion as she hesitated, and she started to cry. Izuku was getting annoyed, and he didn't know what to do until an idea crossed his mind, and he pinched the nerve around the neck, and in no time she fell unconscious. Izuku didn't feel proud that he had to do that to a child, but he needed her to be silent. And as he picked her up, he noticed all the bandages she had. That made him angry. But he understood why she was crying. Izuku quickly made his way to his place, instructing Yuki to watch over the girl, but before she could say any remarks, he vanished from her sight as she sighed. Meanwhile, back with Izuku, he returned to the Yakuza hideout, and he needed everything to work perfectly for his plan. To be continued. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment down below. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing for more. Turn on the bell notification to be updated so you never miss a video. That said, peace out.